Most of our biggest fears in life never actually happen to us. Sometimes you just gotta walk through life understanding that you don't need to know the answers, but trust that it's all gonna work out for your benefit anyway. Why do you have to be scared of the unknown? Why does fear have to be the emotion that comes to place when you think about what you don't know? More oftentimes than not, I promise you, whatever it is that you're insecure about, it's not even really a thing. It holds no real power on you other than the value and the power that you place on it. It's never as bad as you actually think because the insecurity inside you amplifies something that's not even really there. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. But at some point, you got to understand that acknowledging the thing that's challenging you is the healing process. And you don't got to lie to yourself, man. If you're in pain, it's okay to say that you're in pain. Never stop surprising yourself. Never stop treating yourself like you don't deserve new experiences and new things. How can you learn more about yourself if you don't put yourself in new environments? Once again, when we talk about fear of the unknown, there's so many things that you don't know and it's not meant for you to know. It's designed for you to develop your faith and put one foot in front of the other and let the story unfold. Let the story happen to you. All you got to do is show up every single day. It might not look how you wanted to, but at least you showed up. It might look better than you planned it to. Continue to show up. Showing up is going to be the answer to getting rid of the things that's stopping you from becoming the person that you know you could potentially be. Put yourself in new places, bro, even if you're scared. Do it while you're scared. Ain't nothing wrong with being scared. Nobody said that being scared wasn't going to happen to you. But what I need you to understand is that if you allow fear to stop you from doing what's best for you, you're only going to get what you give. You get what you give in this life. You're making it very difficult for the universe to fuck with you. A lot of the time we think we can just talk to God and tell God what we want and pray about it, but not do nothing to actually increase our chances of making it happen. Somewhere in that Bible would say faith without works is dead. If work was all you needed to live a happy life, nobody would be depressed. Understanding that the unknown could come with rewards and surprises and gifts, man. You don't got to be scared of the unknown. We don't got to think that like because you don't know what's going to happen that you'll automatically assume that the worst thing is going to happen. What if the best thing happens? Hey, yo, man, welcome back to the Halfway Up podcast. And I call it Halfway Up because you never finish rising. And I don't got a lot of time today, man, so I'm going to just get straight to it. But this episode is to remind you to stay focused. This episode is to remind you of things that you might have forgot. Because when you're chasing a purpose or you're chasing a goal, it's a lot of things you're going to experience in this life, man, that might distract you. You were supposed to go straight, but you ended up making a 600-mile detour to the right. And then finally you wake up at the 600 miles and you realize not only do you need to go 600 miles back to the starting point from where you got distracted, but now you need to continue on to the journey and finish the rest of the 100,000 miles that you have to complete. That happens in life. That happens all the time. And a lot of things can distract us and hurt us and, stop us in our tracks. Sometimes life can be so tough and life can be so challenging that sometimes you just got to take a break. But some people take a break for years before they take another step in the right direction. And, that's between you and God. But like this conversation is hopefully going to find the people that might have stopped in their tracks or the people that need a reminder to continue to go because maybe they're thinking about quitting or maybe they're rethinking things. Maybe they don't believe in themselves like they once did. You know what I mean? Maybe they need a little reminder because everybody needs a reminder every now and then. A little affirmation, a little love, you know what I mean? These are the type of things, this is the gas that we need to put in our car to keep shit going and keep shit flowing. That's what this episode is going to be about. I'm going to essentially talk about the things that stop people and distract people from accomplishing their goals or keep you on the detour way longer than you're supposed to be on it. You know what I mean? And before we jump all the way into it, these are the things that I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about fear of the unknown. Fear of the unknown is something that stops people from handling the business that they're supposed to be handling and accomplishing their goals. Self-doubt and insecurity. Emotional pain and loss. I'm talking depression. I'm talking grief. Finding your purpose and your meaning in life, right? Human connection and dealing with loneliness. And last but not least, discipline and consistency. These are the 6 things that I'm going to cover in this podcast because I believe through these 6 things, one or another is something that pertains to you. One or another is something that relates to what it is that you're experiencing right now. And sometimes when you're on this journey or you're trying to do something big, larger than life, you're trying to do something that nobody in your family has ever done, you find yourself feeling lonely a lot because there's not really too many people that can relate to you. And sometimes even your friends, if they're not also chasing a purpose or chasing a dream, at some point, there's only so much support they can offer you because they don't fully understand everything that it is that you're experiencing, the emotions that you're experiencing. And that's what we're going to talk about in this episode. I want to hopefully just go over some of the things that I know people struggle with, some of the things that challenge American people and people all around the world. You know, there are things that stop us and distract us from getting to that bag and handling the business that we're supposed to handle because our emotions be getting in the way. Sometimes it ain't nothing stopping you from doing what you're supposed to do but you. And I don't say that to judge you. I don't say that to point the finger at you. I say that to hopefully help you understand that I can relate and that I can understand. And what we're going to do in this conversation is we're going to put the spotlight on some of those things so hopefully you can see them. Sometimes you being distracted and you being held back by things that you can't even see. You don't even realize what the problem is until you hear the right combination of words to unlock that door for you. And I'm hoping that in this podcast episode, that's exactly what's going to happen as we go over these topics. So one thing I want you to understand about being afraid of the unknown, right? Being scared of things that you don't know what's on the other side of the door. Being scared of the possibilities of something bad happening. Being scared of the possibility of the worst thing happening to you. Being scared of not understanding how a situation might go. The first thing I want you to understand about being scared of the unknown is that most of our biggest fears in life never actually happen to us. It's the idea of fear that keeps you shackled. It's the idea of fear that keeps you held back because it's nothing more than an idea. I don't know who created this saying, but whoever did, God bless you, because it's really the chef's kiss, right? There's nothing to fear but fear itself. A lot of the time, you got to understand the things that we're preparing for in our minds, the things that we're trying to protect ourselves from ever happening, never happen. So we're preparing for something, inheriting the anxiousness, inheriting the anxiety, inheriting the physical stress of something as if it's going to happen, but it never really does. There's nothing to fear but fear itself. And understand that fear thrives on uncertainty. So you might not know all the answers. You might not have all the answers. You might not have everything that you need to know to actually feel comfortable. But what I want to let you know is that the fear thrives and gets fed off of you being uncertain. Sometimes you just got to walk through life understanding that you don't need to know the answers, but trust that it's all going to work out for your benefit anyway. Think about it right now. You don't got all the answers. You don't know how you're going to get $1 million 10 years from now. You don't know how you're going to buy your mama a house 10 years from now. You don't know how you're going to buy yourself a house 10 years from now. You might not have the actual answers to this, but you have faith though. Faith is believing in what you can't see. And you got to have a lot of faith if you want to not allow fear to overrule your life when it comes to the unknown. Because you don't actually have to be afraid of the unknown. You could be excited about it. Why do you have to be scared of the unknown? Why does fear have to be the emotion that comes to place when you think about what you don't know? Why don't you instead be excited? The unknown might have some beautiful gifts waiting ahead of you. The unknown might have plenty of surprises for you, plenty of things that'll bring a smile upon your face. You should look at the unknown like that. Don't allow fear to control your life. The only way you feed fear is by being afraid. The more you feed something, the bigger and stronger it becomes. You get what I'm saying? So I'm not saying that this is easy. I understand that it's easier said than done, but stop feeding fear because you're allowing it to become stronger and have a more dominant presence within your life. There's nothing to fear about the unknown because it's unknown. It's your perspective that creates this negative expectation. You get what I'm saying? Instead, create a positive expectation. The unknown might be filled with beautiful things, beautiful moments, beautiful people, beautiful experiences. You get to choose how you want to see this shit. You know, you don't have to be afraid of it because understand, fear thrives off of uncertainty. But just because you're not certain doesn't mean that you have to be scared. You can be confident that no matter what happens, I know it's going to be good. No matter what happens, I know that I'm going to rise to the occasion and I'm going to be able to handle it. You can look at it like that too. It's your choice. You have the freedom to choose. You don't have to be scared of what you don't know. Instead, you can be confident about, regardless of what it looks like, I know that I'm going to be ready for it and I'm going to be prepared and I'm going to enjoy it. And in my mind, the solution to not being afraid of the unknown is focusing on things that you can control only. Because a lot of the time when we think about anxiety, right? Anxiousness only lives in the past and in the future, but never really in the present, right? When you allow your mind to be fearful or intimidated by not understanding what your future is going to look like. And when you think about the past and the mistakes you made, and if you could redo this over again and you allow yourself to continue to live in this weird loop of cringiness because you hate the way you handle something in the past, let me tell you something. Focus on what you can control. Do you want to have a beautiful life in the future? Do you want to have a beautiful life in the next 6 months? Focus on the things that you can do today, right now. Because when you're too busy having fun with this life shit, when you're too busy being excited, you're too busy enjoying everything that you have to offer. Fuck what anybody else got to offer. When you're too busy being excited about what you got to offer, not only to everybody else, but to yourself, that doesn't leave a lot of space for anxiousness. That doesn't leave a lot of space for stress. You get what I'm saying? Fear of the unknown thrives off your uncertainty, but all you need to do is be certain of who you are today and what you're capable of right now in this moment. And you can do that by only focusing on what you actually can control. The anxiousness can't touch you when you're only focusing on what you can control. The depression can't touch you when you're only focused on what you can control. And instead of being afraid of the unknown, look at it like it's an opportunity. How many opportunities are waiting for me in the areas that I haven't even experienced yet? You don't have to look at it as a bad thing. That's a choice that you make it. And you got to be careful. You really got to audit your thoughts, and you got to have a mindfulness and a level of self-awareness, because you might not even be conscious of the fact that the negativity inside of you is driving you to an area that you don't even really want to be in. Sometimes there's a lot more you can do to protect yourself than you realize. And you do that by focusing on what you can control. You can do that by reframing the way that you think, and instead of being afraid of what you don't understand, be optimistic about it. You know what I mean? And tell yourself that regardless of how different the future looks, no matter if it looks exactly how I planned it or if it looks a little different, then I'm going to be happy regardless. Don't let the fear of the unknown control your life. You know, you control your life. Nobody has the keys to drive your car but yourself. Even if you're afraid, do the things that you can do today to make your future tomorrow better. Even if you're confused, do what you can do today to make your future for tomorrow better. Even if you don't have clarity, even if you're down, even if you feel defeated, do what you can today. It doesn't matter if today you're at a 10, if today you're at a 3, or today you're at a -2. Do what you can. The answer is always do what you can. Even if you're at an 11, do what you can, because doing what you can will always allow you to maximize your potential for what your future could possibly be and look like. Number 2, self-doubt and insecurity, something that we all deal with, something that everybody has been challenged with at one point or another in your journey. And what I want you to understand is that when it comes to your own insecurities, your mind perception is reality, right? Your mind amplifies things about yourself that's really not that serious in the first place. You ever looked at yourself in the mirror, or there was something about yourself physically that you didn't like, and then maybe you got around some other people, and maybe you might have told them like, oh, like I feel a little uncomfortable, I feel a little self-conscious because maybe my kicks ain't right, maybe my shirt got this stain on it, maybe my hairline ain't what it need to be, maybe, you know, whatever the case is, and then they let you know like, oh bro, I would have never even noticed that if you didn't say anything about it. A lot of the time, we're our worst enemy. We're our biggest critic, right? So we amplify things and we make it bigger. More oftentimes than not, I promise you, whatever it is that you're insecure about is not even really a thing. It holds no real power on you other than the value and the power that you place on it. Sometimes we give life to the things that hold us back. Sometimes we give life to the things that make us prisoners that we desperately want to get free from. We say we want to get free. We say we want to live our life, and we say we want to have the freedom to be better and be who we think we really are underneath all the things that we're challenged with. Not understanding that you're the only person that can grant you the freedom towards it. Now, the question is, when are you going to be tired enough? Because the people that get tired enough, the people that have had enough, they decide they're going to make a change today. And, you know, regardless of where you are in your journey, I want you to understand that your mind amplifies these things and makes these things way bigger. These things that you see as flaws, these things that you see as making you less than an ideal person. You're absolutely perfect the way you are. It doesn't mean that you don't have things that you could work toward. But I promise you, as you're on your journey working toward those things, you'll find just the way that you are. I promise you. It's never as bad as you actually think, because the insecurity inside you amplifies something that's not even really there. It makes it seem bigger than it really is. It's actually this fucking small, but we treat it like it's all it is. We treat it like it's all it is, but really it's this. Don't let something this small get in the driver's seat of your life. The solution to suffering with self-doubt and insecurity is always going to be doing things that make you feel more confident. You get what I'm saying? The answer is always what you can do right now. Again, anxiety thrives in the past and it thrives in the future, but in the present is where you control your destiny. Ironically, the present is where you make do with the things you did in the past, and then you make space for what you want your life to look like in the future. And you do that by doing what you know you need to do. I don't know what your passion is. I don't know what your particular goals are, but all I know is that if you work at it one step at a time, if you put one drop in the bucket, eventually that bucket gonna get full. Eventually that bucket gonna have some weight to it when you pick it up. You know what I mean? Progress is a slow thing. It's a slow thing. And what I need you to understand is don't rush and don't feel like you're in a rush. Take your time. And you got to be patient with yourself too, because you didn't develop this negative perspective overnight. So it's going to take more than a night to get rid of it. But every single day you need to be telling yourself something to combat the negativity that exists in your thoughts, man, that exists in your mind. You know, insecurity, man. These are the things that hold us back sometimes from going as fast and as far as we can in our journey because we're too busy fighting ourselves. We can't even go as far as we can or run as fast as we can or really thrive and live in our full potential of what we're actually capable of because we're too busy being our own anchor. We're too busy slowing ourselves down. You know, and these are some of the things that stop us from doing that, you know, being afraid of the unknown, self-doubt, and the insecurities that come with that. You know, what you can do is you can challenge the negative thoughts that you have. You can improve this, bro. Everybody should be practicing on making the insecure voice in your head smaller and smaller. And the only way we can do that is by doing things to earn our trust today. You know, if there's something you know you need to be doing to get you one step closer to your goals and the things you want in your life, do that, bro. Maybe it don't got to be every day, but just make it more often times than not, you know? Do it more often than not. And last but not least, when it comes to getting rid of insecurity in your life, you got to celebrate your wins, man. You got to make space for the cool ass shit that you did. Don't just brush that shit underneath the rug like it's nothing. We do that all the time as people, and I don't know why, but when you do something cool, when you do something that's dope, when you do something that's worthy of acknowledgement, acknowledge yourself, man. Treat yourself. Do something that's nice for you. Do something that only you know that you like. Go to that one place you like going to. Go get them sneakers. Treat yourself to a nice meal. Go get you a massage. Do something nice for you, man. You should be rewarding yourself because once we put ourselves in a place where we think we're doing good things and then we're expecting other people to pay attention and then reward us, that's a dangerous game to play because even if they do a pretty good job of rewarding you majority of the time, what if one of them days they distracted with their own shit? What you gonna do then? Fall back into your old patterns? No, you can't do that. You can't do that, man. These are the ways that you can make insecurity feels. These are things that you can do to push insecurity in the corners that it belongs. Essentially, some part of being insecure is just a part of life, right? Everybody is insecure or has been insecure about something in their lifetime, but it doesn't have to be bigger than it needs to be. And these are some ways that you can do that. The third thing, pain and loss. One thing I need you to understand is that pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. We don't have to suffer. And I don't say that to be inconsiderate or have a lack of empathy of the things that people might be going through out in this world. But what I want you to understand is that the fastest person that can help you will always be you. The fastest person that can understand you will always be you. Because a lot of the time when we're hurting and we're in pain, the first thing we want to do is we want to reach out to the people that we love the most, the people who we feel like understand us the most. But those people are not always going to be there. Let's say they're in your corner 9 times out of 10. What about that one off chance that they're not there? You got to learn and train yourself how to be there for yourself. And the first way you can do that is by understanding pain is inevitable, but suffering is an option. You don't got to suffer. And you can stop your suffering the minute you decide that you had enough of your pain. The minute you decide that you've had enough of feeling bad, feeling like you ain't shit, feeling like you're not worthy. Once you decide you had enough of that, now you can get to the healing side. And that's one way you can tuck the emotions and the loss that you might feel in your life. You know, you might be dealing with grief. You might be dealing with a lack of self-love. You might be dealing with so many different things. But at some point, you got to get to a place where you say, I had enough. Because I don't want my life to be over before I get a chance to know what it's like to be the person that I see myself being. I know that I could become something. I know I have the potential to be greater. At some point, you got to decide, I had enough of this emotional shit, man. I had enough of feeling bad. I had enough of feeling sad. I had enough. I had my moment. I had my moment to process and sit in my feelings and acknowledge the way that I feel. Now it's time for me to get up and go make something of myself. Now it's time for me to focus on what I can do today. That's going to be a constant theme in this episode. What can you do today? What can you do with all the power and all the resources that you have right now to make sure that you have a better future tomorrow? That's how you do this, man. That's how you increase your chances of having the life that you actually say that you want to have. We cannot allow our emotions to have all the say-so on us. Listen, if you're hurting, if you're in pain, allow yourself to have the proper time needed to feel those things. Give yourself the space to feel the things that you're feeling, because one mistake that a lot of people make is we try to brush it under the rug like it's not happening. And I understand that sometimes there's a place for that too, because sometimes when you're really trying to survive, you might not have the tools, you might not have the knowledge to deal with things in a quote unquote right way. Sometimes to heal, you got to act like it don't exist. Sometimes to actually move past something, you got to sweep it under the rug and act like it never happened. I understand that, man. A lot of us do that from the neighborhoods and the cultures that we come from. But at some point, you got to understand that acknowledging the thing that's challenging you is the healing process. And take the time to actually experience that. And you don't got to lie to yourself, man. If you're in pain, it's okay to say that you're in pain. Acknowledge it. Because once you grow comfortable with the idea that, this does suck, I am in pain, I am hurting. And the next day it will hurt. And the next day it might hurt. And the next day it might hurt. But one thing you're not doing is you're not lying to yourself. And eventually you grow comfortable with understanding that it's okay to be hurt. It doesn't feel good, but it's okay to be hurt because everybody goes through it. And what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to lie to myself. I'm going to deal with it every single day until the volume of the feeling starts to go down. And that's how healing works. You deal with it, you assess it, you acknowledge it, and then it becomes less and less of a thing, But after you've done that, make sure you start doing that work and you start doing what needs to be done so you can get closer to the person that you actually want to be. You get what I'm saying? Accepting your feelings, not lying to yourself and trying to pretend like it's not there. Accepting it, looking at it in his face and being like, you know what? You are here. I am feeling this. I am experiencing this, but I'm not going to let you take me out. Now, I don't want to go to work, but I'm going to go to work. And I might be in pain the whole time, but at least I'm going. I don't want to go pick up the kids. I don't want to go see my boyfriend or my girlfriend. I don't want to go to school. I don't want to go take that trip. I don't want to do it, but you do it anyway. And you might not feel good while you're doing it. But what you're not understanding is that you're building reps to be stronger than the feeling. The feeling is strong, but you're building your reps to become stronger than it. And they say, once you expand your mind, it can never go back to the original form that it was in. As you're facing the thing that's hard for you to deal with every day, the thing that's challenging you, once you become stronger than it, then that emotion can never eclipse you like it's doing right now. Something way bigger would have to happen to you because now you got muscles. You've been in the gym. You're in the emotional gym and you done put way more weights on your reps. And now you know how to pick some shit up and you know how to lift some shit. Accept your feelings, man. Express your feelings. Lean on your friends if you have them. If you got a support group, whether it be your mother, your homies, your cousin, coworkers, whatever it is, if you got somebody in your life that you can talk to and you can really just let them know what's going on and you can really get some advice, you can really get a different perspective aside from just the one that you currently living in with that dark cloud over you. These are some things that kind of help you move through it, man, because you got to move through it. And when you move through it, you want to move through it the right way. Because if you sweep shit underneath the rug, that's cool until you move the rug and you realize, damn, it's a lot of shit I've been putting in here over the years. You couldn't see it no more, but it doesn't mean that it wasn't there. And one day you're going to have to lift that rug. One day you're going to move that couch and you're going to expose to yourself all the dirt and all the filth that's underneath here. Nah, do the right thing. Put that shit in the trash like it's supposed to be. Put it outside for the trash people to pick it up on the weekends and move on about your life, man. And at least, you did it the right way. When you're dealing with pain and you're dealing with loss, you gotta switch up the routine that you usually do, like maybe you need to get around some new people. Maybe you need to try some new things. Do some things you usually wouldn't do. Listen to some music you usually wouldn't listen to. You need to shock the system. You need to trick yourself into getting away from the old version of you and create a new version of yourself. Try listening to reggaetons. Try listening to salsa music. I don't know. Try something. Have you ever been fishing? Go fishing. Get your ass on a fucking boat. Jump out of an airplane. Do something to shock the system and bring a level of newness to your life. Sometimes we got to break the monotony. We got to get out of the routine and we got to do something fresh so we can surprise ourselves. Never stop surprising yourself. Never stop treating yourself like you don't deserve new experiences and new things. And sometimes those are things that help slap us and wake us up from dealing with these emotions that keep us held down. The fourth thing is finding your purpose and your meaning in life. A lot of people feel uncomfortable and they feel empty because they don't think they have a purpose. You're looking at all these people doing their thing, all these photographers, all these videographers, musicians, athletes, pastors, scientists, teachers, educators, massage therapists, yoga instructors, all these people that feel like they know what they was put on earth to do. And you might feel like one of those people like, bro, I just go to work every day. I don't know what I was sent here to do, but you want to, right? You want to know, you want to have a higher purpose. You know that you're more than just somebody who clocks in and clocks out from work every day, has weekends off, chills at the house every day, and then repeats the same thing over for the next 3, 4, 5, or so many years, right? What I want to let you know is that I believe that purpose is something that you find. It doesn't necessarily find you. Some people have a story where purpose did find them, but for the most part, the regular people, we got to find our purpose. I personally believe you find your purpose, if you don't have it already, by trying new things. Because think about it. Everything you're used to doing it. So it doesn't leave space for new emotions. It doesn't leave space for new wisdom, even meeting new people to come into your life. It doesn't leave any space for that. So how can you learn more about yourself if you don't put yourself in new environments? How can you learn more about yourself if you don't put yourself in new situations? Sometimes you got to hang out with new people. Sometimes you got to try listening to new music. You got to go to a new part of town that you usually don't go to, right? You got to go to a new restaurant that you usually don't go to. You got to try a new book that you usually wouldn't read. You got to try watching a new movie that you usually wouldn't even fuck with. A new podcast that you usually wouldn't listen to. You know, you got to try new things because once you put yourself in new scenarios, new experiences come from it. And when you're trying these new things, you're increasing your chances of finding something about yourself that you didn't know before. You increase your chances of discovering new things about the self. And if you don't know how to start, the first thing I would ask you is what excites you? I would start there. A lot of people feel like I don't have a purpose, but you got to ask yourself, what excites you? Because sometimes we make the mistake of thinking, well, my purpose got to be something that make me a lot of money. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Maybe your purpose don't got shit to do with financial gain. Maybe it's all about fulfillment. Maybe your purpose is something that helps you sleep better than everybody. Maybe your purpose is something that helps you enjoy your life and have just a way happier life more than anybody, right? It don't got nothing to do with money. And the first thing I would tell you to do is focus on what excites you. If food excites you, if working on cars, if working with dogs, if working with children, if working with people, if community service, if there's something that excites you that you don't do a lot of, I would start there. And a lot of the time people feel intimidated to start something new because they feel like they seeing everybody else been doing their thing. Don't think about it like that. Everybody got to start somewhere. And there are people that have been doing things for years and still make mistakes or still do rookie things that have them feeling stupid. You know what I mean? But you got to have a level of confidence. Having a level of confidence to try something that excites you, to be curious about something. That's the first step that you're going to make when it comes to finding your purpose if you haven't already found it. I'm talking about the thing that you can do and you enjoy so much that you lose your track of time. And once you find whatever that thing is, you keep doing it and you keep doing it until you become better at it. Listen, once again, when we talk about fear of the unknown, there's so many things that you don't know and it's not meant for you to know. It's designed for you to develop your faith and put one foot in front of the other and let the story unfold. Let the story happen to you. Let the story happen to you. All you got to do is show up every single day. Don't worry about nothing else but showing up because anxiety will stop you from showing up. Thinking about showing up but not actually showing up will make you anxious. Show up every single day. It might not look how you wanted to, but at least you showed up. It might look better than you planned it to. Continue to show up. Showing up is going to be the answer to getting rid of the things that's stopping you from becoming the person that you know you could potentially be. The fifth thing that I know that my people struggle with is loneliness. You know, I know a lot of people, everybody's not the socialite type, right? Everybody's not the social butterfly. Everybody's not popular. Everybody's not confident to spark up new conversations. But to those type of people, I would say just position yourself. You know, you might not be the type of person that know how to strike up a conversation with somebody, or maybe you don't like small talk. Position, but you know you lonely though. But you know there's something in you that feels like it's missing. Like, fuck, man. Like, I wish I had more friends, or I wish I had a community, or I wish I was a part of a community. The only way you're going to make that happen is by trying something new. And what I would tell you to do is put yourself in new places, bro, even if you're scared. Do it while you're scared. Ain't nothing wrong with being scared. Nobody said that being scared wasn't going to happen to you. But what I need you to understand is that if you allow fear to stop you from doing what's best for you, you're only going to get what you give. You get what you give in this life. And you only got one life, and you don't even know how long you're going to have to really enjoy it and experience it. So what I would tell you is that if you're feeling loneliness, put yourself in places and just don't worry about nothing else, but just do that part. You know what I mean? Maybe you go to a concert by yourself. Okay, maybe the first concert you go, you don't make no friends. Maybe you go to the second one. Maybe you don't make no friends. Maybe the third one, you make some friends. And even if you're not making friends, what you're doing is you're gaining confidence and you're gaining self-respect that whole time. That's what I mean. Don't be afraid of the unknown because that's such a negative way to look at things. So many great things can happen from it. Let's say because you are tired of being lonely, you put yourself in areas and groups of people to make friends, but you don't necessarily make the friends right away. But you know what you do get? You get the self-confidence. Now, it ain't nothing for you to try new things. Now you're trying even more things because you know what it's like. You know that it's really not that bad. You know that the idea of being afraid to be uncomfortable is way more of it's an idea in your mind that's not even that really real. It's not even that real. And you can fight some of that back by just positioning yourself and then allow the universe to do what it do best, man. People are gonna come to you. You're gonna go to people, you're gonna meet people, you're gonna find the person that you're looking for. I promise you. Listen, this life is designed for you to win in it. This life is designed for you to prosper in it. It doesn't mean that bad things not going to happen. It doesn't mean that challenging things are never going to happen to you. You know, you're going to experience very tough things in this life, but you're also going to experience very beautiful things at the very same time. Give yourself an opportunity to experience that. But I promise you, if you keep doing the things that you've been doing, you're making it very difficult for the universe to fuck with you. A lot of the time we think we can just talk to God and tell God what we want and pray about it, but not do nothing to actually increase our chances of making it happen. Somewhere in that Bible would say faith without works is dead. Somewhere in the Bible it say that. And while you asking God or you asking to the universe or whoever it is that you believe in and you pray to help you, also be helping yourself so that both things can be met in the middle. Preparation means opportunity. In order for opportunity to come to you, you have to be prepared for it. And maybe your situation is not meeting new people. Maybe your situation is, I know a lot of people, but I'm not talking to none of those people. Talk to those people, man. Listen, I know a lot of people might disagree with this, but more often than not, being lonely is a choice, man. You're choosing to be lonely. There's people in your life that you haven't hit up. There's people in your life that you ain't reached out to. Yo, meet me for coffee. Yo, let's go get a drink. Yo, let's have dinner. Let's take a trip together. Yo, let's just have a conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might be the type of person, you got people in your life, but are you utilizing the people in your life? Because chances are they want to talk to you too. But a lot of the time in this Western culture, man, we get into this bag where it's just work, 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 and we don't make space for fulfillment, filling your cup. If work was all you needed to live a happy life, nobody would be depressed. Nobody would be depressed, but you got to have a well-balanced life. You got to have a well-rounded life. So what I would suggest that you do is that you make the choice to connect with the people that are already there. And if you don't got people there, maybe you in a new city, maybe you in a new job, maybe you live further away, whatever the case is, whatever the fuck the thing is you're dealing with, choose to position yourself for success. You get what I'm saying? Position yourself for winning. And the last thing that I want to talk about is discipline and consistency. Understand that motivation fades, man. You're not going to feel motivated all the time. I know I don't feel motivated every single day. I don't wake up every single day feeling amped up and super charged up and excited to work on shit. Even shit for me. This is my brand. This is my podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like if my podcast makes money, that's eventually going to make my life better because I'm making money based off of loving the things that I do, right? Making money off of my passion, not having a boss, but being my own boss. But I don't feel motivated all the time to pour into that. And that might sound dumb, but that's just the real. Understanding that every day you're not going to be motivated. Every day you're not going to be inspired, but making the choice to do the thing anyway. Because like I said, you know, the number one common theme between all these things that I'm talking about is that focusing on what you can do today is always going to be your best bet. No matter if I'm feeling like I'm at a 10 today, no matter if I'm feeling like I'm at a 4 today, no matter if I'm feeling like I'm at a negative 25, focusing on what you can do is going to be the thing that liberates you. One foot in front of the other, man. Listen, don't be taking a 600-mile detour somewhere else. Because not only are you going to realize one day you're going the wrong way, your ass going to have to come 600 miles back and then continue the journey from where you left it off at in the right direction. And you can do that by focusing on what you actually can control. Because even when you don't feel motivated, you can still get results. Even when you don't feel motivated, you can still get big wins. You can still put plaques on the wall. You can still get a trophy for not even feeling like doing the work that you did. One day, listen, sometimes we be fucking up thinking that the thing that's gonna make us $1 million is the thing that we're gonna come to us when we feel the most motivated, when we feel the most creative. What if you came up with an idea when you ain't even feel good? You ain't even feel good, you don't look good, you wasn't even feeling yourself, but then something come to you. You might not even realize it's genius until you release it to the world, and then you see the way the rest of the people gravitate to it. You see the way your community responds to you, the way they affirm you. Then it's like, oh shit. I ain't even think that shit was good for real. The unknown. Once again, we keep coming back to it. Understanding that the unknown could come with rewards and surprises and gifts, man. You don't got to be scared of the unknown. We don't got to think that like because you don't know what's going to happen that you'll automatically assume that the worst thing is going to happen. What if the best thing happens? Understanding that consistency and discipline is going to be your best friend when the motivation fades, because the motivation ain't going to always be there, man. Those are the things that I want to talk to you about, man. These are the things that hold us back sometimes, you know? And I wanted to label this episode How to Protect Yourself from Feeling Lost and Depression, or things to remember when life gets tough, or a reminder when you're feeling down, or play this when you feel distracted, or these are things that distract you, because they are. These are the things that when we're on our journey and we're trying to stay focused and we, you know, no, majority of people are good people. Majority of people in this life only want the best for not only for themselves, but for their family. But sometimes we get in our own way and we don't mean to. Nobody purposely wants to wake up every day and not be the best person they could possibly be. Nobody actually wants that. But it happens sometimes because there are forces at bay. There are things that are happening to you that you can't even detect all the time because you're too busy being controlled by them. And hopefully something in this, right? If it's not fear of the unknown, maybe it's the self-doubt and insecurity that you're feeling. If it's not that, maybe it's the emotional pain, maybe it's depression, maybe it's grief, maybe it's loss. If it's not that, then maybe it's a lack of purpose and not understanding your meaning in this life. And if it's not that, maybe it's because you don't got enough human connection. Maybe you're feeling lonely. And if it's not that, maybe you don't got enough discipline and consistency. But regardless of what it is, hopefully one of these things is the thing that you relate to, is the thing that you're challenged by. And hopefully you get an answer from this that you've been looking for. You know, nobody's perfect. We all looking for the answers, man. We all trying to get better, hopefully. I know I am. And so, yeah, I just wanted to have this conversation for some of the people that don't necessarily feel the clearest in their mind, you know what I mean? Or the people that don't necessarily feel like they're exactly where they want to be in life. You know, you want the person that you love in life to support you. You want your family members, your cousins, your friends, your coworkers, your peers, the people you respect. You want them to support you, but nothing will ever be stronger and better than the support that you give yourself. And sometimes to support yourself, you got to wake the fuck up because you've been asleep at the wheel. A lot of the time, yeah, you driving, but you ain't really fully conscious. You know what I mean? And when you're not conscious, you increases your chances of crashing. And crashing not good for nobody because some people don't come back from a crash. You know what I'm saying? Figuratively and literally. Some people don't come back from that. So this episode is to hopefully just wake you up from some of the things that might, you know, have you sleep at the wheel. And yeah, man, with that being said, I had to really rush this episode. I'm really not happy about that. I didn't have a lot of time and some things that was, you know, not in my control. But at the end of the day, I got it done. Focusing on what you can control, right? Focusing on just simply that and nothing else, because anything else is pointless because I can't control it. You know what I mean? Can't even do nothing about it. But what I can focus on is that all I had was like an hour or a little less than an hour. And, you know, I'm going to make the best of it, which I can. And maybe today's episode is not the 10 for me. Maybe it's a 4. But if 4 is my best, then I'll take my best. I'll take my best over my worst any day. You get what I'm saying? And with that being said, I love you guys, man. This is Wolf Taylor. This is another episode of the Halfway Up Podcast. I call it Halfway Up because you never finish rising. Please, man, leave a rating, leave a review. Come fuck with me on my socials. Fuck with me on the gram. Fuck with me. I'm not really on Twitter like that. Fuck with me on TikTok. Damn, man, what else? Leave a rating and review. Leave some comments, man. Fuck with the content. Fuck with the reels. Yeah, man. I love you guys. Thank you so much if you've been listening this far. I really appreciate you because you literally could be anywhere doing anything. You know what I mean? Like, everything is designed on the internet to take your attention right now, and you could be absolutely investing your attention somewhere else. But if you're here, I want you to understand that means a lot to me. You know, that's not a little thing. And before we get out of here, you already know the mantra, the religion, the spirit of the brand. Whenever I'm working, I will remember that done is better than perfect. And if I'm satisfied with my work, then that means that I'm living in my purpose. Yeah, man. Youth is temporary, but health is forever. We must stay healthy. I'm Wolf. I'm out. Peace.